Welcome to a Move Your Stick production. Products that inspire you to grow. Join me in welcoming the founder and CEO of Move Your Stick, Mr. Berwick Mahdi, as he engages in an organic conversation about the power of harmony with Mr. Norris William, CEO of Norris Network Publishing.
Today's topic is, put your ears on for a second. Get ready, get ready, get ready. Harmony is not your bitch. I'm going to say that again. I know it's kind of shocking. Harmony is not your bitch. Get back to harmony now.
Okay, first of all, let me give people just a little insight about me. For the last, I would say, 20-something years, I've been working as a relationship coach. That's basically what I've done, right? Working with people to help transform their communication inside their relationships. Now, what led me to create this particular program, which is Get Back to Harmony Now, is the idea that I, for most of my life, lived in conflict. I had a great appetite for conflict and didn't know it. Most of the things that I had achieved in life were driven or influenced by conflict. But the one thing, everything I had achieved, no fulfillment, no joy, no peace. None of the things that I truly wanted or that truly mattered most to me was I able to really experience as a result of being in conflict. And guess what? I really was not conscious of my conflict. It had become something that was unconscious to me because being in conflict was normal. Like for most people, as we talk about this, what we're getting ready to talk about, most people will see that for the vast majority of us, the average person is in conflict but don't even know that they're in conflict.
Wow. So everybody put your ears on because we have several exercises we're going to go through here today, because I will guarantee you 99% of people on this call and 99% of people in the world actually are in some sort of conflict. Now, why do I say that? I'll tell you why. Because before I first listened to this program, and I got to go through the program before you guys did. That's how I know it's going to be effective. I didn't really think I had issues with conflict. I thought I was good. I thought I was, as my big brother Snoop Dogg would say, I thought I was copacetic. But at the end of the day, I found out I still had some conflict, some unconscious conflict going on. So
when we first start off, we need to think about harmony in a different way than we have been, all right? Because people say, why did you call it harmony is not your bitch? Why use that terminology to go along with it? Well, here's the reason why I called it that. Because throughout my life, I noticed one thing. I noticed that because most people have unconsciously geared toward conflict, we see harmony as being weak. We see harmony as something to push over. We see harmony as something to ignore. So I called it harmony is not your bitch to bring to mind the idea that, take for example for myself, I was in a relationship with a woman around the same age as myself who saw me being in harmony with myself as being a weakness because she was so used to drama and conflict in her relationships and growing up until meeting a man that actually treated her like she was supposed to be treated, or treating her on a level that's comparable to her true self. She actually saw it as a weakness, and it took a while before she became comfortable with harmony.
So wait, I'm going to stop you right there before we go forward, because, they say there's a saying that goes, nice guys finish last. There's a saying that women always fall in love with the bad boys. Everybody's looking for a bad boy. Is that kind of what you were explaining to the audience just then?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this idea that how harmony comes across to someone who is in conflict, right? Someone who is not in harmony with themselves, who does not have the peace within. They're struggling within. And we're going to talk about a lot of the manifestations as we go through this. But I want you to know that when you are in conflict, it does two things. It will eventually create a huge appetite for harmony. Because when you get filled with conflict and it brings you to that breaking point where you have to surrender, then you surrender to wanting harmony and peace. But before that, before you reach that level where you're completely fed up, you have an appetite for drama. And so if someone comes into your circumference who is in harmony with themselves, who don't argue, they're not going to waste any time arguing with you. They're not wasting any time trying to compete with you. They don't compare themselves to you. They come across as being strange because they're focused on their goals. They're focused on what they desire in their heart, and they are not being distracted by all the other things that you are being distracted by when you are in conflict.
Could you tell us what the definition of conflict is?
Well, let's say before we go into the definition of conflict, let's examine what the definition of harmony is. Because I don't want to assume that people have a definition of harmony or really know what harmony is. At its very root, the nature of harmony makes it this thing where it is you being in sync with your true will. All right? So let's think about it for a second. We have a true will. All right? You have a true will. What does that mean? That means that before I do that, let me explain this. You've heard of the idea of creating a last will and testament, right? So all of us are taught in some way, especially as you become an adult, when you get to a certain age, you start hearing things about how important it is for you to create a last will or your will. So you go to a lawyer, you sit down with the lawyer, and what the lawyer does, the lawyer writes down for you your wishes, the things that you would like to have carried out once you're gone. That's the things that you want your children to do, what your resources that you have left over. All right. Now, there's a saying in the occult sciences that goes like this. It says, as above, so below, which means that everything you see on the earth realm is a mirror of things happening on the spiritual realm. So in the spiritual realm, if you have a last will on the earth realm, that means you have to have a first will. But most of us are not aware of the first will. And the first will works the same way as the last will, except your first will is before you leave the spiritual realm to take on your physical form in the earth realm, you create a will for your life here on earth. That's what we call our true will. In other words, you agree to come into the earth realm to take on an assignment or your life purpose, and then you choose the things that you desire to experience or have happen as a result of you carrying out your purpose. That's what we call that's your first will. So now, when you come into this thing, you come in with your first will. Now, being in harmony means that your mind is in sync with that first will. And everything you do is in conjunction with how that first will was ordered in the universe by the Creator. Because everything in the universe is in order. Your first will is in perfect order with every other first will in the universe.
Thank you for listening to Move Your Stick, products that inspire you to grow. To learn more about Move Your Stick, please visit our website at moveyourstick.com or call us at 877-229-8880.
slowly eating them up on the inside.
Man, that is so on point. I want to thank you for sharing it because, you know,